I kind of lost my confidence. I kind of lost my cool. It's I couldn't even recognize myself what is attractive about me. So through the program, Ruby's kind of help extract and find and help me figure out what is unique about me. And I think that was one of the best thing about the program is that it's not just some trick to talk to girls, but it's more about like, all right, what is so unique about you and what you get, and let's highlight that and bring that to the table and see, and try to portray yourself as your best self and your most confident self. We started my online profile during our fourth week with you, and you know, and I think within the first 2 weeks, I was getting more matches than I would have gotten in the past 6 months. So, so yeah, I mean the result is good, and the other matches I talked to, all the conversation has been very like meaningful. It's been long conversation. We connect on a deeper level. It's not just like, hey, what do you do for? What's your favorite hike? What's your favorite food?
All right. Hi, everyone. Ruby here for another story for you guys. It's quite inspirational and hopefully motivational for you. I have a great client here who is willing to share his story. So let's dive right in and hear more about him. Today, we have Tuan. Hi, Tuan. How are you doing today?
Hey, pretty good, Ruby. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for doing this. Really excited for you to share your story. So let's go ahead and start with telling a little bit about who you are, kind of where you started and where you are now.
Hey, so my name is Tuan. I'm 31 years old. I live in Orange County, and I'm an engineer. A little dating experience before meeting Ruby is that I had a couple girlfriends in the past, and after the last one, I kind of took a break for 5 years and just tried to focus on myself. And during those 5 years, I was using online dating apps intermittently, and wasn't getting any good feedback or result. So it really affected my self-confidence a lot. But then, when I saw Ruby in one of the Facebook group that I was in, and I after 7 months of just kind of hesitating, don't know what I should pay for this program or not, I decided to go with it, and the result could not have been better. And right now, I'm actually have a lot of fun with it.
Awesome. That's so exciting. I know online dating can be really frustrating. And as you said, it can really kick you down, right? And it was really great to see you kind of find that confidence again and find it exciting and get some matches in. So what would you say is the biggest obstacle that was, overcome during the process?
I would say the biggest obstacle for me was like finding out what is attractive about me, and rebuilding my confidence about what all the things that happened to me in the past. I kind of lost my confidence. I kind of lost my cool. I couldn't even recognize myself what is attractive about me. So through the program, Ruby's kind of help extract and find and help me figure out what is unique about me. And I think that was one of the best thing about the program is that it's not just some trick to talk to girls, but it's more about like, all right, what is so unique about you and what you get, and let's highlight that and bring that to the table and see, and try to portray yourself as your best self and your most confident self.
That's awesome. I love that you said, it's there's no really trickery behind it. And I've always tried to vocalize that to people. Like, I'm not trying to make you become someone you're not, right? I'm just trying to pull the traits that you already have to attract the right person. And what's really awesome for you is it seems like out of all of it, you came out of it more into who you authentically are, right?
Right. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And with that, especially with the confidence and how you feel about that, give us a summary how, I guess, my specific guidance or what I did to kind of help you either find your confidence or even, get your matches. Like, what part of my guidance really helped?
Your weekly call for sure. And you make sure your tough love for checkup. Yeah, you make sure when you give an assignment, you make sure that I stay on it. So I mean, I learned by tough love, so I enjoy that someone to be like, hey, stop slacking, get your shit done.
Yeah, exactly. I don't let you get away, do I, or have any excuses?
Yeah, so yeah, so I enjoy that aspect. It's like having an accountability partner, to be like, hey, get your and like at the gym, get your rep in, don't
Yeah.
slack.
Yeah.
And and also the PDF that you provide is pretty good explanation. And your weekly call, uh, you go into more depth, which it helped me understand a lot more. I mean, you can only read so much, but when I can hear you explain things, make a lot more sense.
Right.
And yeah, sometimes if I got stuck, um, texting you regarding like some how to approach a girl, like what is the better way to me to portray my point. You usually reworded some of my goal or some of my objective in a better way, and I think that's really helpful.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm so glad. Yeah. One thing, if you don't know if you're listening, that's kind of part of the program is obviously the ability to text me. It's not like you can only talk to me on our phone calls, right? It's about being able to text me in between those. When a girl's texting you and you're not sure what to do or you have trouble of knowing what to say, I find that really important. So I'm glad that the texting has helped. And also even through texting, right? I feel like especially with mindset, if you say something that is self-sabotaging, right, or showing that kind of lack of confidence again, then even through text, I'll tell you like, hey, come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on, let's get back up and let's figure this out,
Yeah,
right? It was like, I don't
right.
let you get away, even through text. It's not just on calls.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what are the results, especially because diving deeper, as you said, how before online dating, especially you tried like for years and it wasn't working out. Tell everyone what you have been experiencing when you started online dating, again with me.
Right. So we started my online profile during our fourth week with you. And you know, and I think within the first 2 weeks, I was getting more matches than I would have gotten in the past 6 months. So so yeah, I mean the result is are good. And when I noticed that I wasn't just uh, mindlessly swipe whenever I look at a profile, I'm like I have an idea of how to approach this person instead of just she's cute, swipe, she's cute, yes, yes, no.
Mm,
It's more of like, okay, how am I gonna stand out compared to I'm sure she's gonna if she's a cute girl, it's like I'm sure she's gonna get about 500 likes. So how am I gonna stand out compared to this 500 people?
right.
And that's what you taught me, like just like how to make yourself be stand out enough, but it's still keeping your authenticity about you. And yeah, and I've been doing that, and has been a huge help to and the results show. Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's really awesome. And I like what you said about how before swiping sometimes when you kind of don't know what's going on can feel a little tiresome and exhausting. But it seems like now that you have the structure, right, it's just a little bit easier to kind of go through it because you know what to do, right?
yeah. Oh, and one more thing I want to add was that, all the girl that I matched with, they the conversation is no like so Ruby kind of help you kind of help me with like saying how to make uh, how to uh as- how to make a meaningful conversations, right? And
Mm.
and the other matches I talked to, all the conversation has been very like meaningful. It's been long conversation. We connect on a deeper level. It's not just like, hey, what do you do for? What's your favorite hike? What's your favorite food? You know, if you ask that, you're out.
No, yeah, we cut out those conversations, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you
Uh,
slapped me a couple times on the wrist for asking those questions. So I was like, okay, you know, you gotta you gotta find a better way to approach it. So yeah,
no,
if you
that's
steer, yeah, if you stay away from those type of surface level conversation, we end up going to a very deep conversation. And a lot of girls would willing to talk deeply about themselves. That's kind of nice.
yeah. No, I love how you brought that up because it's so easy for people to think that, oh, women never get into meaningful or in-depth conversations. But you're basically saying that a lot of the women you have, they have gotten there with you. But I think it's about how you approach those conversations, and give them
Mm,
space to even do so. And it seems to all work out.
right.
And now, so interesting. I do want to mention this because you noted this before. You went from the obstacle before was even just getting matches and figuring out. But I love how you told a story about how then an obstacle became dating four people at once, and that was just awful because it's so hard, right?
Yeah, yeah. Learn well because I've always dated before online dating. Uh, I before online dating, all have been dated before was just like normal like offline dating with your friend of a friend. And you never date four people. Well, I mean, I've never dated four people at once, but with online dating, you ran into that. You have that chance, and you did it. And not recommend if you're a working professional, you don't have time for this. Just do one or two at a time, but do not do more than that.
Right, yeah. And it's like I said, it's funny how that became an obstacle, juggling them. And
Yeah,
it's not like they're all awful ladies. They were great. It's just juggling
right.
them at the same time is what made it
Yeah,
difficult. But I'll always remember you saying like, "Huh, I never thought I'd have this problem, but here we are." So,
yeah,
but yeah, now I mean, if anything, that just shows how much of a good job you've done to also, I guess, attract these ladies, which were all great. It's just about filtering through and seeing if they're a good match for you at that point.
yeah.
Awesome. And overall, how are you feeling now?
I'm feeling pretty hopeful and bright for the future. I mean, I yeah, I feel like I feel like I know what I'm doing, and I feel like I'm no longer feeling have that feeling of hopelessly wandering. Of like, am I doing this the right? Is it the right thing to do? And I just realized through with you is like there is a certain way you can do things, but then you can also add your own way to do it, and that's just like a journey. Is like finding out what combine your way and then combine with my own flavor into something, and is you make it your own,
Yeah.
and I just kind of like that. Um, so yeah, future is bright,
I
and
love love it. No, I love what the words you use, Brian. I think the word too is just hopeful. When before, I
yeah,
think I remember you came to me and it was just really rough. You started to lose that hope. And all you can do is feel that confident and hopeful and continue until that right person comes along. That's it, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah, of course.
all right. So many people usually are kind of too scared to get help on like such a vulnerable topic, and sometimes it can feel shameful. Can you speak to that, and what would you kind of say to them who think that?
I would say I was in their boat, um, you know, for the most part of my life, right? Because society make you think that, hey, you're a guy, you're supposed to know to flirt, you're supposed to know to talk to women,
Hmm.
But then if you come from, let's say, an Asian background where traditionally you don't have people that help you in that sense,
Right.
it is it's it's kind of unfair to expect people to uh, uh, perform a certain way when they don't have any of the skill set growing up. So in that sense, I would say there's no shame on asking someone to help you. Like, how are you supposed to know something? Uh, the thing they teach in a movie, it's only work if you're very attractive as a person. Like,
If you look like those people in the movies, right? Yeah.
yeah, and you're like, yeah, okay. But then if you're not, like most people, most normal people are not looking like those people, and you need to know exactly what you're talking about, and if you don't, and that's why you should ask for help and find and seeking help from someone who's an expert in the field. Just like if you don't know how to do a deadlift at the gym, I mean, first you would try and research, but then it's always better to ask someone else for advice. Rather, if you try it yourself, you might break your back. Just
Wow.
it's,
Yeah. It's a good
yeah,
analogy.
just yeah, just if you don't know something, it's always best to ask the expert. That's how I always find the best way for me to learn things, because I'm not the best learner doing things by myself. I just always ask someone who
Mm,
does it better than me, and ask them for advice.
right. It's awesome. It's truly a life lesson for many areas in our life, many areas. Because sometimes, just like as you said, with working out, you're not always looking at yourself and even your form, right? And that's why, and that's how you can hurt yourself. And it's the same thing with dating at times. It's hard to look at your own. So love that. Really, really awesome that you said it. I'm like, I wanted to say preach. That's really great preaching. So, I mean, what are the reasons you noticed this investment was worth it when you first said yes in your head? Because you even said before, like, oh, I did feel the same before. Maybe it could have been shameful, but what made you realize, I think this, investment is worth it?
I think it was during our second session together when you there was an exercise um, on finding out about like why I think so negative about myself.
Mm,
And I think there was a part where you helped me figure out like what happened to me in the past that made me feel so negative about myself. And it was all came down to one event that I remember in middle school. I was like, how am I letting that one event affect me to all this day? And I didn't even know that affected me to this day until like we did an exercise, and I was like,
yeah.
hmm, I never dealt with this, and it came, and it's just like in the back of my head this whole time. And that's when I was like, oh, this is worth it, because I would never think that that event had an effect on me until I talked to you about it, until
Yeah.
we figured what happened to my mindset, my framework.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the first thing. And then the next thing was, you helped me build pretty good profile. And then the next one is like getting date. It's like, okay, well, there you go.
You're like one step each step of the way. You're like, oh, okay, this is, I see it. I see that it's working. But that's
Yeah.
awesome. And I love how you mentioned the first thing is mindset, because that's always the first thing I cover, because you need to have a healthy perspective in all of this. And it's one of those things, you said it, like sometimes you don't even know. You didn't even know it was that one moment in your past that made such a difference. And sometimes it's about bringing it up to make sure you can overcome it. And obviously it took your efforts too, because you realized it, you saw it, and you wanted to work on it. And I guess speaking of qualities that you had that made it successful, like what qualities do you think a guy needs to be successful in this program with me?
I think the one of the biggest quality as a guy is that to keep your ego in check. Um, is like I said, as a guy, you have a lot of ego, and asking for help is never easy. So, is to keep that ego in check and to be like, hey, I'm here to learn. I'm not here to argue with you on your method. I'm just here to like learn what you can give me, and just keep doing it. And there's gonna be a lot of try and error, and just use what you learn, apply it, see what works and what doesn't work, but see whatever work depend on your style, because sometimes not all the thing apply, not all the thing that you learn apply to you. Some of it are, some of it do not, right? You just need to figure whatever one works for you, and and to keep your ego in check.
Yeah. No, I love that. I just laugh when you said that because I totally have seen uh certain clients' egos come up, right?
Yeah.
But normally when they recognize it and they realize that's coming up, most then realize, okay, wait a minute, why am I here? Is it to
Mhm.
argue with her? Because obviously what I've been doing hasn't really been working, so I'll listen.
Yeah.
And all I ever ask is to try. Because at the end of the day, all we can do is try, test things. If it doesn't work, then we figure out another way. And that's why I always have clients like you text me, right? If things aren't working or something isn't happening, then we figure it out. So I guess it's that quality of also flexibility and just
Mhm.
trying and attempting. So
Yeah.
love that, love that a lot. So the last thing I want to ask is, usually when people are listening to this, they're kind of on the fence of deciding if they want to work with me or not, and do this kind of program with me one-on-one. So speaking, I guess, to the audience now, what would you say to those that are on the fence right now listening?
If I mean, I understand why people are on the fence. It is pricey. I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
It's a lot of money, but to think of it as a skill set, right? You're gonna have, and you're gonna learn about yourself, because I just usually equate everything to time. Time. I mean, the time that I mindlessly swipe to an online app. Let's say you spend an hour, and if you do that for like a year and you don't get no result, that you could use that time lost. You could use the money that time could generate and put it to and use it for invest it into yourself by purchasing the class. And if and I think it's worth it. I mean, because what everything you've learned, you learn how to, you become more efficient, and you become more like you know what you're doing, instead of just wasting your time. And I think wasting your time is wasting more money than ever. Yeah.
Love that. Yep. No, I think it's, my gosh. No, I love what you said, because I value time as well, and
Yeah.
I think it's important to realize the worth of your time. And, I guess anyone could spend more hours or minutes looking up more YouTubes and articles, but when you look back at it, how much time are you going to use to kind of figure it out? And then it doesn't work.
Mhm.
And then you don't know what you just did that doesn't work. So then you look back, right? So, and then you realize
Right.
later, it's 5 years later, and you're like, oh shoot, I just got older. I just keep getting more old, right? So I
Yeah.
think for everyone that's listening, I love what Tuan said about that. And I hope everyone really reevaluates their own time and how valuable it is, and how much time you are willing to allow to go by to kind of figure it out, or to just find clarity, if anything, right now. So that's awesome. Oh, thank you so much for sharing everything today. It was really awesome. I appreciate you being open to sharing. I'm pretty sure everyone who's listening right now really appreciates it too. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening in. And until next time, and thank you so much again, Tuan, and have a good one.
All right. Thank you.